Welcome to Top Grade. My name is Spencer Miller and I'm excited today to present to you a selection of brand new Canadian titles for the spring 2022 season. This video will feature books for early readers or students in grades 3 through 6. Same here. The Differences We Share from Owl Kids Books is written by Susan Hughes and illustrated by Sophie Casson. This book has a really fun format, asking dozens of questions to children all around the world. For example, it asks them things like, what is your family like? What's your favorite thing about your home? What is your favorite thing about going to school? What are the types of food that you eat for dinner? Through the answers given, we learn that while children around the world are different in many ways, they all share the same needs for love, protection, shelter, learning, and community. It's perfect for fostering a global worldview. Same here encourages kids to draw connections to their own lives while learning about the experiences of others. The Tales of Dwipa from Breakwater Books is written by Prajwala Digit with illustrations from Duncan Major. The Panchantara is a famous collection of Indian animal fables thousands of years old that have been retold all over the world. And in this collection, author Prajwala Digit offers a retelling setting the famous stories in a Canadian context in hopes of bringing their Indian and Canadian heritage together. In these stories, fantastic creatures learn to overcome differences and live together, like when an orca whale and a chipmunk become best friends and their families are totally confused by it, or such as when there's a new power-hungry, bossy wolf in the neighborhood and the animals have to band together to figure out how to get rid of this guy. It is great for opening up discussions with young readers about problem solving, resolving conflicts, and celebrating differences. Alina in a Pinch from Second Story Press is written by Shanaz Nanji. In the story, Alina and her family have recently moved to a new community in the southwest of Calgary. And Alina's very nervous because at her old school, most of her friends were immigrants, whereas at her new school, there are very few kids of color. Alina becomes especially anxious after a mysterious note from a lunchtime bully making fun of her lunch leaves her really embarrassed about the Indian food that she's eating at school. With the help of some new friends and a confidence boost from cooking with her nanny, Alina comes to the powerful resolution to be herself and celebrate her Afro-Indian heritage. Having grown up in the Calgary area, it was fun to see references to the Glenmore Reservoir, Heritage Park, the Rocky Mountains, and the Calgary Tower. I love it when students can see their own homes and cities in the books that they read. But even more important than that is that so many students are going to see their own cultural experiences reflected in this book and relate to the experiences of a young immigrant student. I especially love the mouthwatering descriptions of all of the Indian meals that Alina would cook with her Nina. Some of my favorites were included, and so this is a book that is going to make you very hungry while also warming your heart. I'm so excited to tell you about two Indigenous graphic novels, the first of which, Rabbit Chase, is available from Anik Press. It is written by Elizabeth Lapensee with illustrations from Casey Oster. In the story, Amy, who is a non-binary Anishinaabe middle schooler, is on a class trip to offer gifts to the Peinsag, the water spirits known to protect the land. After wandering off to avoid further teasing, Amy is transported to an alternate dimension populated by traditional Anishinaabe figures in a story that is inspired by Alice in Wonderland. I was deeply impressed by this debut graphic novel that is fun and colorful and imaginative, and that plays off of a familiar story while incorporating and exploring important aspects of Indigenous identity and gender identity for young readers. This is amazing representation, and I'm so excited that it's something that we can bring into our classrooms and teach this season. Up next is Giju's Gift from Highwater Press, a story from Brandon Mitchell with illustrations from Veronica Baranova and Britt Wilson. In this graphic novel, a young Mi'kmaq girl named Mally loses her hair clip, and she is so desperate to get it back because this hair clip used to belong to her Giju, or grandmother. She has this suspicion that the hair clip was actually stolen by one of the little people, and as she tracks him down, she actually ends up making friends with Pug, who needs her help to solve part of a bigger problem that also involves escaping from an ancient giant who is chasing them all around. So this story that kind of just spirals into a lot of fun and humor and adventure also ends with a really touching moment as Mally learns the deeper significance behind her grandmother's hair clip. This was a hair clip that her grandmother actually wore and took with her to residential school that was taken away by the nuns. And so this first volume of a graphic novel series that is a lot of fun and adventurous has this deeper meaning threaded into it. Brandon Mitchell does such a good job of incorporating pieces of culture, language, and history into the story, and the book includes a glossary of terms that translates some of the Micmac words into English for readers in the back. Next, we have an early reader novel called Aggie and Mudgy, The Journey of Two Cascadena Children from Wandering Fox. It is written by Wendy Proverbs. When Maddie discovers an old photograph of two little girls in her grandmother's belongings, she wants to know who they are. Nan reluctantly agrees to tell her the story of two sisters taken from their home, forced to travel 1,600 kilometers by riverboat, mail truck, paddle wheeler, and steamship, and train to Lejac Residential School. This story is based on the true experiences of Wendy Proverbs' biological mother and aunt. I love the way that this story was told as a conversation between a grandmother and a granddaughter, because Maddie is able to interrupt parts of the story and ask questions in ways that really help to clarify and support the emotional understanding of young readers at home. This book puts the focus on family, showing how the forces of colonialism separated families, but we also get to see how the descendants of residential school survivors are reestablishing familial bonds through Maddie's growing love for her grandmother and the time that this family gets to spend together at the end of the book. And our final selection for today is Step from Groundwood Books. It is a collection of short stories from Deborah Ellis, where each story shares the experience of a different child around the world on their 11th birthday. There's Connor, who spends his birthday thinking of others after discovering a depressing message, not being sure who wrote it. A girl who sneaks away from her class camping trip to spend her birthday by herself and away from her parents. Laszlo, whose father's son birthday outing is turned into a nightmare when his father introduces him to his friends who turn out to be neo-Nazis. And a handful of other stories. Each story is only a few pages long and is going to leave students just guessing and wanting to know what happens next in the lives of these young people. It is another great way of fostering a global perspective and getting your children and your classes to think about children in other places around the world. It really doesn't shy away from the challenges that many young people go through. And in this way, I think it's great for young students to be able to see other children around the world who are going through the struggles of growing up, but are also hopeful and succeeding in overcoming their challenges. On behalf of the Association of Canadian Publishers, thank you for watching. We love hearing from you, and we hope that you'll comment below with any of the books that you're excited about bringing into your classroom this season. Make sure that you sign up to our newsletter in the link in our description so that you can get new top-grade content directly into your inbox. And we also want to offer a big thank you to Ontario Creates for their continued support of the program.